We are back once again. Welcome to another live Johnny Torch broadcast. The Johnny Torch program brought to you live high above the city below in Torch Tower. We're bringing you Torch News Roundup number 83 this evening. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Again, unfortunately, this one is coming to you a little late. I originally tried to record this program on Saturday after I did This Week in Comic Book Television. The only way to spend your Saturday, by the way. Be sure you check out our Saturday broadcast. But with the release of the Avengers trailer, seriously wanted to get this video out much sooner, but the problem being is, once again, my limitations in technology have prevented me. Now, my idea when I break down trailers is to show you a lot of images from the trailers, and since I'm having trouble with my newer laptop, I can't get any images to stay because it keeps saying my disk is full, even though I have a USB port plugged in, which should give me plenty of room. For some reason, it's not working, and I am at a loss to get any images on this computer. Using the old laptop, for some reason, every time I try to put the Hangout on the air, it keeps muting the sound, which is, kind of pretty much the whole show. So, anyway, we're going to do this podcast style, and hopefully the two or three of you that still watch the show will not be have any of your enjoyment detracted of me describing the scenes of the Infinity War trailer to you and not actually seeing them. I always wonder how these people that actually show the trailers in their videos when they're doing a trailer reaction don't get copyright strikes. I'm pretty sure if I actually tried to find a way to show you the trailer while I'm talking about it, I'd probably get a copyright strike. And at the very least, they're going to want the money. Even though it doesn't matter to me because I'm not going to get paid. Even though I'm closing in now on 10,000 views lifetime, YouTube changes the rules every single time they think that they're going to have to give me a check. Every time they're going to have to cut a check for me. Nope. All right, so let's move on here now with all that out of the way. We did a trailer review for the Venom trailer not too long ago as well, where we had to just go by my description of the trailer. So it's, we're kind of used to it now. The only problem is that this is a longer trailer. Venom was just a teaser. All right, let's get to our first subject here. We've got the poll of the week question. Last week's poll of the week question, I asked you to set up the Black Widow with a date. Now, I haven't been crazy about the concept of Black Widow with Bruce Banner, so that was not an option. And I'm not one of those Captain America Black Widow shippers. I don't think they go well together. To be honest with you, I don't see where people find any chemistry between them. I think pretty much it's got to be the opposites attract thing that makes people want to see them together because they have absolutely nothing in common. Cap is, altruistic and completely straightforward in his approach. Black Widow is more deceptive and, can basically adapt to any situation. I don't really see where they have any compatibility. Of course, as for the Hulk, I think Bruce Banner is more suited for Betty Ross, which they completely left in the lurch. Although there have been rumors that the character of Betty is going to be in this movie, Infinity War. But anyway, the choices that I presented you with for a romantic evening with the Black Widow were Bucky Barnes, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. So, with 160 votes coming in fourth place we had Dr. Stephen Strange. In third place, the Black Panther. In second place, Spider-Man. And in first place, Bucky Barnes. So Doctor Strange had 12% of the vote. Black Panther had 14% of the vote. Spider-Man had 16% of the vote. And Bucky Barnes came in with a resounding 58% of the vote. I would go with Bucky Barnes, too, because they seem to have some semi-similar history. And I believe they were an item in the comics. In the MCU, Spidey isn't old enough, unfortunately, because, as I said before, I think Spidey really should be college age, which would kind of make him at least in the game. At least in the game. Black Panther has Nakia, so that's pretty much already settled, I think. And Doctor Strange has Christine Palmer, but he really doesn't even have time for her. All right, so thank you for voting on last week's poll, the week question. Now we have this week's poll, the week question. And this week, now we did the Black Widow dating game, we're going to do Thor Odin's son, because Thor Odin's son has never been at a lack for female companionship. All right. So far, we have 66 votes. Not quite as many as we did for the Black Widow question, but we have one more day left. So you can still vote on this one if you hear the broadcast soon enough. Tomorrow will probably be the last day. All right. So far, the choices here for you are, and these are all from the Thor movies. This is where we're, taking the dating pool from. Jane Foster, Lady Sif, Valkyrie, and Darcy. As you would expect, in fourth place with 5% of the vote, Darcy Lewis. In third place, kind of a tight race here, but in third place with 29% of the vote, Lady Sif. In second place with 30% of the vote, Jane Foster. And in first place with 36% of the vote, Valkyrie. This is a tougher one, but like I said, I've always said I like Jane Foster better with Thor, I think, because that's kind of the age-old, trope or whatever of the god with the mortal, and Thor's father, Odin, didn't really approve of Jane Foster. He really approved of Lady Sif more. And Valkyrie, I don't know, I really didn't feel any connection between them. I mean, even in the comics, I think the original Valkyrie didn't really, I don't know, she really wasn't like a love interest for him. Of course, Darcy is the comic relief, so I don't know. That's more just to round out the poll. But, I would probably vote for Jane Foster. I think they pretty much have bid Jane Foster adieu in the MCU. I wish we had more of Lady Sif. She didn't show up whatsoever in Ragnarok, but that's kind of interesting. I don't know what happened to her, seeing as how Asgard is now no more. Where was she and what was she doing? If they could get her as a cameo in maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe that would explain things, because she did appear in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. plenty of times. Okay, so with all that housekeeping out of the way, let us take our first bit of news here. And this is a story that went back a couple of weeks now, I think. I haven't got to the story yet, but Jon Favreau is to create a new Star Wars TV series for whatever Disney's new platform is going to be, their new streaming service. Jon Favreau, of course, director of Iron Man 1 and 2, and the actor portraying Happy Hogan in Iron Man's 1, 2, 3, and Spider-Man Homecoming. And, of course, he's a director of Elf and The Jungle Book, which I thought was really good, of course. But Favreau is going to write and produce this new series. We have absolutely no word as of yet on what this series is going to be about, what time frame it takes place in. So there really is nothing to talk about. But what do you want in the Star Wars TV series that Favreau is about to produce? I think it is a good idea to choose Favreau. He's one of the few people that Disney have aligned themselves with to make a Star Wars product that I actually have some faith in. J.J. Abrams was kind of a solid choice, but J.J. Abrams, with that mystery box crap and stuff, he's not really there to tell a compelling story. He's just there to evoke a mood. That's why I said The Force Awakens was basically there to set a handsome table, but you needed somebody with a little more, panache to try to tell a good story once you've set it up. And heaven knows Rian Johnson was not that person. But I digress. Jon Favreau seems to be an old school Star Wars fan. I think he'll bring some of that flavor to the proceedings. Um, if I was to pick an era, I guess this is going to be a live action TV series because I would like to say the lost years of the original trilogy cast, the after Endor, so to speak, the after years where Luke was still training Jedi and Han and Leia was still a couple before the abomination that is the sequel trilogy came to pass. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. What would you have the Star Wars TV series be? Set it in the future? Set it in the distant past? Maybe a prequel series. I always thought that was a fun idea. Having a series set when Qui-Gon and Count Dooku were master and student. I always thought that would be a good show. We could tell more about Qui-Gon's background and, consequently Count Dooku's. You see a little bit more of a shady, gray area there for the Jedi. You could possibly do a young Qui-Gon, young Obi-Wan show, when Obi-Wan would be, maybe a preteen or something. But I think probably the way to go that I would be interested in if they were going to do a prequel show would probably be Count Dooku and young Qui-Gon, because then you can go pretty far back. You can cast another actor for Mace Windu. He'd still be in it. You'd have Yoda. You could probably even use a Yoda puppet maybe and just have him on the council. It would be fun. That's what I would do. That's what I would like to see. Let me know what you think in the comments below for a new Star Wars series. All right, we also have some late breaking news that just came out today about another Lucasfilm project, Indiana Jones 5, the as yet untitled, probably final movie in the Indiana Jones franchise, at least as far as Harrison Ford is concerned. Will there be a passing of the torch, and maybe they'll continue on with another Indiana Jones being son of Indiana Jones? That's quite probable, but this will probably be the last one with Harrison Ford. Steven Spielberg directing, and he announced that he will be making Indiana Jones 5 next year in the UK. So apparently, the script is going to call for I don't know, a British location, apparently. The film is set to shoot April 2019, which would be almost a full year away before they shoot it, and it is planned for release in 2020. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And, I wasn't one that really hated Kingdom of the Crystal Skull like a lot of people did. It felt like it had a solid foundation. It just was kind of lacking in several areas. But yeah, this is interesting. What do you think it's going to be about Indiana Jones 5 or V? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so next up, we have some casting news for the Captain Marvel film. Now, originally, DeWanda Wise was cast as Monica Rambeau, the Black Captain Marvel, who took over after, as comics are wont to do, after a mantle is left behind and Carol Danvers left to, I don't know, become an alcoholic or something. Was that point in the comics? After the debacle that was the quote unquote rape of Captain Marvel story, rape of Miss Marvel, actually. If you want to look that up historically, as I've always said, that is a very strange story, but it could have been pretty interesting had they done what they originally wanted to do with it. I think the original concept was Carol was going to have a Kree baby that was sort of genetically uh, placed in her. Kind of a strange concept to begin with, but then they turned it into an immortal, had seduced her, and something sort of brainwashed her, I guess. I don't know. You can find more information about that one, like I said, in the comics, in the local Wikipedia. But the actress apparently had to drop out of the project because she's in the Netflix Spike Lee show She's Gotta Have It second season. So that means they're needing a new actress to fill the role, and they turned to Lashana Lynch for this character. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with Monica Rambeau because, again, we have the problem of this film being set in the past. And it's, I guess, going to lead to a time travel concept where Carol's going to wind up in present day. And well, where does Monica Rambeau fit into this? I mean, because usually they try to do the War Machine thing where they're going to have probably, Monica have some kind of powers and be something of a sidekick or a hero in waiting, so to speak. But if they do a time travel thing, what is that? Where does that leave Monica? Well, we don't know. But what we do know is Lashana Lynch is going to be playing her. All right, so let me know what you think about this new actress. I don't know her. I've never heard of her, so I don't really know how this is going to affect the proceedings because uh, I didn't know DeWanda Wise either. So you could have just told me that she was cast first, and it really would have made no difference to me. All right, we're going to move on now to our final story. We don't have a whole lot of news. There wasn't a whole lot of news the past 2 weeks, but this was large breaking news the past couple of days. Wrinkle in Time director Ava DuVernay has been tapped to write and direct. Oh, I don't know. It's no. The writer is going to be Cario Salem. It just says here that he'll be working closely with DuVernay on the script. So we'll say co-written by DuVernay. The upcoming New Gods film based on the Jack Kirby comic from the 70s. Now, this is big news because a lot of people like the New Gods. I particularly don't. I've made no bones about it. I've said several times that I'm not a big fan of Kirby's New Gods characters. This is where you get Darkseid. And apparently, since Darkseid was cut out of Justice League and Steppenwolf was sort of his replacement, they're going to go back to formula, as Norman Osborn would say, and they're going to tell a new God story first before probably bringing the story to, or bringing the character of Darkseid to the DCEU proper. And that's probably a smart way to go because a lot of people, the problem they had with Justice League is that the New Gods characters are not really that popular to the layman. Some people will have heard of Darkseid from the Superman animated series. And I always say I think they pushed Darkseid way too much in that series. It was sort of a New Gods show, except without the good guys, only the bad guys taking on Superman. But this will probably be the way to indoctrinate them into the New Gods, and then you can start using the New Gods villains probably more freely with the Justice League characters, with Superman. That probably, unfortunately, is where they're going to lead Man of Steel 2, I'm guessing. Because we already know Justice League 2, whenever it should come to pass, is going to be a Legion of Doom setup for the villains, which I'm really looking forward to, by the way. All right, so again, Wrinkle in Time, sort of a flop. I don't think it's done very well at the box office. I don't follow box office news about how much money a film is making. That really doesn't interest me. If a movie's good, that's great, and if it makes money, that's great. If it doesn't make money, it's sad because hopefully you get a sequel if it's good. But in this case, people are wondering why. Is this just it's another SJW pat on the back? They're hiring a black woman to direct a franchise that apparently is not going to have a black leading cast, which I hope is the case because one of these things that people are saying is perhaps they're going to race change a lot of characters and this and that, which of course, as you know, I'm against that concept. But so seeing as how the movie Wrinkle in Time has sort of flopped, people are wondering if this is just a political move, or maybe it's just one of those things where it's going to sit on the development shelf for quite a while before we actually hear something from it. I don't know what to think. Again, not a huge fan of the New Gods to begin with. What is it about? It's about Miracle Man, his wife Big Barda, Granny Goodness, and Darkseid, and Desaad, and Steppenwolf, who may or may not be dead at this point. Orion, who is, I think, the son of Darkseid. Very interesting concept, that crazy imagination of Jack Kirby's. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about the New Gods film that is apparently coming out soon, that is upon us. Okay, so this is going to be a little more difficult now without any images, but we're going to go over the Infinity War trailer again, second Infinity War trailer. It's a doozy, all right. This one was a great trailer, and I had a big smile on my face the whole time. I don't do trailer reactions in that way, but this is one I was tempted to do because I knew it was going to be a good one, and it really was. It paid, it paid off in dividends. This concept of having every Marvel hero together for, what's ultimately going to be two big movies in the MCU. This is part one, I guess. Although the part two is not going to be called Infinity War Part 2, which was originally the case, but it is going to be the aftermath of this film. All right, so I'm going to have to go by memory because I have no images here to remind me. But we have the trailer opening up with Gamora. I'm trying to remember her name. Gamora is telling Tony Stark that Thanos, his biggest aspiration has always been to conquer, and I guess from what we hear Thanos say later in the trailer, basically to wipe out half of the civilized world and bring the world into balance. Right off the bat, this disappoints me because the main motivation for Thanos, and again, as usual, the MCU post-credit scenes never make any sense. Name me one that actually bore fruit. I mean, you could say ones that were actually in films, like Thor's, the after credit tag of Iron Man 2 with Thor. That scene was actually in Thor, so I mean, that made sense. The same thing with Doctor Strange. The tag of him with Thor in Thor Ragnarok was actually in the film. But usually when they have these like after credits tags where they don't really know where they're going with it, and this is sort of the same thing here, where in Avengers, everybody got excited because Thanos was told by his chief lackey, the one that was killed by Ronan the Accuser, that to challenge the Earthlings is to court death. And of course, this was a long time ago. We're like 2.5 phases past now. But apparently he's not courting death. He's just trying to do some kind of, like Ra's al Ghul plan, I guess, where he wants to bring the galaxy into balance and harmony or something. I don't know. My greatest hope for the concept of Thanos was that they were going to use the one concept that they used in the Silver Surfer animated series. Now, I'm not a huge Silver Surfer fan by any means, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the cosmic side of the MCU or the Marvel comic universe. But there was a pretty good concept they did there where Thanos was trying to impress Death made manifest as a wooden statue. I thought this was a great concept because it just shows how really unhinged he is. He's called the Mad Titan. And it's because he's a madman, really. I mean, he's got more in common with the Joker, or, he's got more in common with the Joker, sort of wanting to watch the world burn. He's not that crazy where, he's just, anarchy for the sake of anarchy. But he's got this fixation on death that he's personified as a person. And I think it makes it even more unsettling if you don't have it be an actual person, because I know in the comics, Death is an actual person. I think she doesn't say anything, or interact with characters on a larger scale, but he's still like infatuated with her and wants to prove himself to her. I think it would make even more, it would be even more creepy and fun if he actually was trying to impress a, you know, an animate object that he personifies as death himself. And like I said, it worked good when they tried this with the Silver Surfer animated series. So I would love to see them go that route, but it's one of those things where they want to change it because you have to have a plan that makes sense, and you don't want to have the audience saying he was trying to impress a wooden statue all this time when he killed 50,000 people in the Avengers. But whatever the case, let's hope that they do right by Thanos. I don't want to see a Thanos who's just out to kill people as a genocidal, eugenics purposes. I don't know. That would disappoint me. Okay, so a lot of people are saying, from what I heard, that they don't think that Gamora is actually talking to Tony Stark because, for one thing, the Guardians of the Galaxy apparently are going to meet up with Thor, and they're hanging with Thor and his friends. But as we see in this trailer, everybody mixes and matches quite a bit. We see Star-Lord with Tony Stark, so I think it's probably a safe bet that they are going to come in contact with one another, Tony and Gamora. So I don't see why that would be not saying that they don't ever cut together scenes in a trailer that are misleading, but I don't see that being one of them. I don't know. So of course Tony Stark says, "Tell me his name again," and of course he's great at that dramatic acting, that Robert Downey Jr. because he's so good as a comedic actor that you forget when he got that kind of sort of frightened rabbit look on his face, but he's very determined, and you can tell that that's something he brings out of Iron Man that I think is going to be hard to capture. That sort of, he's funny, but he's frightened, but he's determined. That's the way I always sum up Iron Man, at least Robert Downey Jr.'s take on the character. All right, so again, going from memory, not in particular order, we've got Peter Parker putting on the mask and leaving the school bus and swinging across, what was it, around the Brooklyn Bridge or something, and he's coming into, going into battle, so to speak. We have Doctor Strange. He still has the Eye of Agamotto, which is one of the Infinity Stones. We'll stick with Doctor Strange for a minute there. We see him getting tortured by a character. Apparently, his name is Ebony Maw. Again, I don't know too many of these characters from the Thanos side of things, the Infinity War side of things, but he's a pretty cool-looking character. And he goes, shh. He's apparently torturing Doctor Strange with 1,000 beams of light, piercing him, or whatever that is. That looks very cool. Not for Doctor Strange, unfortunately, but yeah, Ebony Maw. Maw! And he's with a bunch of other characters there that seem to have Loki surrounded. And Loki looks like, I don't know, one of the female aliens there got like a gun against his head or something, which is, people are wondering if he's going to join Thanos' crew because, Loki's a traitorous swine. We all know it, but is he really going to stick by Thor? And we don't see Loki again besides this scene where apparently he's going to give up the Tesseract and Thanos crushes the Tesseract and takes the stone out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think probably Loki, if there is going to be any deaths in this film, it probably stands to reason Loki's going to be one of them, because it's one of those things where they're going to either let him go out heroically, or I don't know. He might join Thanos' team, but then he's on the losing side and probably get killed. All right, so we see Captain Rogers. Is he still Captain America, or is he Nomad? He doesn't have the goofy Nomad costume on. He's got like a Captain America costume, spray painted black, which I guess this is sort of. You remember they had like a character named U.S. Agent, I think, and he looked like Captain America, but he was all in black, and I think he had like white and red stripes or something. This is like this is closer to Captain America's shield costume. Which, in a way, it's disappointing to me, but I mean, they had this in the comics too, where Captain America was like, I'm not going to be the representative of America anymore. America doesn't want me. I'm a wanted man. I'm a fugitive. So hence I'm nomad. And I think this tied back to Watergate or something. He was disappointed in the government and whatever was happening. But, you know, I would just like to see Captain America be Captain America, you know, instead of this, you know, he's got a beard. Oh, this must make Chris Evans so happy because Chris Evans loves to have a beard for some reason. He loves to have a beard, and this is probably like one of those things where he just wants to not shave. It's the same thing with Black Widow, where they just have to. I have to imagine this is the Batman and Robin clause, where you can't have two redheads in the same superhero movie. That's the reason why Batgirl had to be a blonde and Batman and Robin, because we already had Poison Ivy. And sort of the same thing here, where they finally have Scarlet Witch becoming more of a redhead. Although in the comics, she really wasn't like a flame redhead. You know what I mean? She's just kind of like sort of like a brunette that was kind of with a red highlights. But I mean, I wonder if that's the reason why they changed up Scarlet Witch now that Scarlet Witch is sort of a redhead. Now they're changing up Black Widow to be a blonde. I still like the way she looks as a blonde. So hopefully this is the only movie they do this. And like I was saying, hopefully they get back to Cap wearing the actual costume and getting rid of the beard. All right, so we have Captain America and Black Widow going to Wakanda to meet Black Panther, and you can see in the image that I don't have up right here, but in the trailer, it looks like Black Widow's sort of given the sideways look at one of the Dora Milaje. I don't know exactly if that's because I don't remember. Was that I never can pronounce her name. What's her name? Yoki. I know that's not right, but anyway, the main one there. She's sort of like giving her the eye, and I was trying to remember. Is she the one that was in Civil War that was like giving her a hard time? That why she giving her the side look? I don't know. Maybe she's afraid that there's going to be some more. You know, them Dora Milaje, they don't fool around. You know, you step on toes there, and it's you're not going to walk away from it. You're going to get carted away in a hospital gurney. Okay, so we've got the Black Panther, of course. Once again, you see him suiting up with a helmet. That's great. That looks great. He's leading the Wakandan warriors. We've got it looks like a lot of guys in the background, and I think they're again. I'm trying to remember the names. I only seen Black Panther once, so I'm not sure. Wakabi, I believe, was the guy with the blue sash, and his men were all wearing blue. You see some of those guys in the background. I'm thinking maybe that's Wasabi's or Wakabi's wasabi. That's a Japanese delicacy, right? Wakabi's men, you know, from the Rhino village. Because I can't remember what happened to Wakabi at the end of the movie. I know he kind of gave up to Okawi. I can't remember her name. Anyway, but anyway, so maybe he's in this movie. I don't know. What else do we have? We have Star-Lord doing some theatrics, some heroics, and that was, of course, a great scene, very funny scene where you had Peter Quill telling Tony Stark that it's a good plan, but it sucks, and you know, let me come up with a plan. And Tony's like, "Wow, that's what you waited all this time for. When you wanted to see those two together, you wanted to see Peter Quill and Tony Stark together. You got your wish." That was hilarious, and I can't wait to see more of their interaction in the film. And Drax is there. Interestingly, we don't see Rocket with him. Maybe they're going to separate, and Rocket and Groot are going to be with Thor, because we see them, and we see Thor lighting up, which I guess he's going to have a hammer axe or something. It's just something else I think it was in the comics. Something to be a conduit for his lightning, which I still am disappointed they don't have Mjolnir, because an axe isn't the same thing as a hammer. Axe is going to kill somebody, you know what I mean? You hit somebody with a hammer and you're just going to probably break their ribs or something, but you hit somebody with an axe and you're going to cut them in half, you know what I mean? But anyway, also on the torture meter, we have Thor getting his head squeezed by Thanos. He's still got the eye patch, because the action figures don't have an eye patch. So a lot of people are saying either he's going to get his eye back, or maybe they're probably what's going to happen is they're just not going to put the eye patch on the action figures as to not ruin the ending of Ragnarok, maybe because they were afraid the prototype would come out. So yeah, we got a lot of people being tortured. We had Doctor Strange tortured. We have Thor tortured. We had Vision tortured last time. Let's talk about Vision now. We see Shuri is doing some kind of scan of Vision, and because I don't know, I guess maybe because the Soul Stone is taken from him or something. Is that the one that he has? No, I think a lot of people are looking for the Soul Stone. Is that what it is? Some people are saying that the Soul Stone is part of like vibranium, part of the Wakandan, ecology there, where that's why the heart-shaped herb is grown from the Soul Stone being part of it. And that's the reason why they can see their ancestors in the plane, the afterlife there. That would make sense because it makes sense that Soul Stone would do that because, like I said, in my review for the Black Panther, it's a very far cry from everything else they've done, where you have, Thor. They couldn't say they were gods; they said they were aliens. That's fine, but now you're saying, well, you can see the afterlife and your ancestors become panthers. You know what I mean? It's kind of needs more of an explanation, I think, to really fit with the MCU. Anyway, yeah, so we got Shuri and Vision. We see Scarlet Witch again looking panicked a couple of times. And I'm kind of hoping at this point she gets to cut loose because you would kind of think, I don't know, but she kind of took a back seat in Civil War because she was sort of like the protected child. And in Age of Ultron, at the end of that film, she had that famous scene where she was made to mature very quickly. And Quicksilver died, and you also had that great scene with Hawkeye where he says, you can stay here, and I'm not gonna, think any less of you, so to speak. But if you go out that door, you're going to be an Avenger. And she decides to go out that door and be an Avenger. But like I said, but then she kind of took like a step back in Civil War, but she's sort of back to being like a kind of afraid kid. And she looks like she's still in that place here. And I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of familiar, because we don't see Hawkeye either. I think there's going to be some kind of familiar scene like that between her and Hawkeye, where Hawkeye is going to be like, because we've seen them together in both films so far. He's the one that came to save her from Vision when Vision was sort of doing his duty as a house arrest guard, But I have a feeling that she's going to once again have to be put in the position where Hawkeye is going to try to push her to be all that she can be, that untapped power that she has to just own it and become one with it, so to speak. Again, a lot of people are saying, where is Hawkeye? And Jeremy Renner is saying that he can't even say role he's going to play here because they're not showing anything about him. But he is in the film. A lot of people are taking this as maybe this is a swan song. He's going to die. I don't think so, because as far as I know, I think Jeremy Renner still enjoys playing the character. And I think because he's not like he's not in any solo films. He's pretty much only in Avengers. I think there's more to tell with his story. I think you can do something else with him, and they would kind of be stupid to try to off him and, do away with someone that not only is interested in continuing to play the role, but someone that you really haven't gotten too deeply into. Like, you could say some of the other characters are played out. What do we not know about Thor? What do we not know about Cap, Tony, even Black Widow? But you really can do more with Hawkeye than he has gotten. We got the lame thing in Age of Ultron where he's a family man with a farm and everything. But putting that aside, there's still like more that you could do with his character, I think. All right, moving on. We've got to get through this here with the rest of this trailer. What am I forgetting? Is there anything else we didn't touch on that I wanted to talk about? Of course, we've got the big finish there with Cap taking on Thanos. he's got like two fingers because Thanos' hand is so big. A lot of people are saying that Cap shouldn't be able to match strength with Thanos, but come on, he's Captain freaking America. He's got strength, he's got resolve, he's got the will, and the will take you everywhere. And I don't know, because they already used it in Civil War, so he's probably not going to say, "I could do this all day." I would like to hear that, but if they're not good, what they really should do is bring the other great quote from First Avenger full circle. I don't like bullies. I don't care who they are or where they're from. And that would be like the ultimate line against Thanos. And, a lot of people are saying that this is probably going to be the death of a lot of these characters, Captain America and Iron Man, probably. But remember, we do have leaked footage. We have leaked photos, of Chris Evans in the Captain America costume, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., and Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. We do have pictures of them from Avengers 4. So whatever happens here, they are going to be back next movie. This is not the last movie of them. So we'll have to see what happens. We also get Thanos talking to Tony, and he says, "I hope they'll remember you." Because it looks like his suit is like trashed at this point. He's been taking a beating at this part. And maybe he's the next to go. Or maybe he was the first to go before. Because I think they're saying that the Wakandan battle is going to be the end of the movie. And we see a couple of other things. We see Bucky, as we had in the past, fighting alongside the Wakandans. He's apparently going to, he's got a roots there now in Wakanda. And we also see the Hulkbuster armor. Some people saying that Bruce Banner is going to be in that. I hope it's going to be Tony Stark, because that's kind of his armor. Why would you give it to Bruce Banner? Some people are saying maybe the Hulk will be in it, which I also hope doesn't happen, because I don't want to see the Hulk wearing Hulkbuster armor. The Hulk doesn't need Hulkbuster armor. If it's Bruce Banner, yeah, maybe okay. But I still don't like that idea. My concept of Bruce Banner is he's the guy that tries to avoid the conflict. He doesn't want to get in on the action. He wants to get away from the action. What he's going to do is he's going to sit in the back and tinker with the technological side of things. He'll tinker with the weapons. He'll tinker with the biohazardous things. But he's not going to go out there and say, "Let me go and fight Thanos." We don't see Hulk fight. We don't see Hulk at all in this. But I don't want to see him actively going out there to fight Thanos. Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner ain't that way. He's not going to go out there and want to Hulk out and fight Thanos. So if they do that, I'll be very disappointed. To put a end on it, we have the end tag there, where hilarious once again. If anybody still complains to me about the humor in the MCU, go take a jump in the lake. Come on, this is hilarious, and this is the perfect blend. You've got the action, you've got the epicness, you've got the power, you've got humor. That's what you need, a perfect, all-encompassing film. And, of course, the joke is Spider-Man introduces himself as Peter Parker, and Doctor Strange says, "I'm Doctor Strange," and Peter says, "Oh, we're using our made-up names, then I'm Spider-Man." And Doctor Strange kind of gives him the look of, "Oh." And that's hilarious. Again, I love seeing the two of Stan and Steve Ditko's creations together. That was something I think everybody wanted to see. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and to see them share scenes is great. Peter using the Iron Spider armor, or if that's what we're calling it, looks pretty good. A lot of people didn't like it in Homecoming. I was happy he didn't take it, but he's probably going to need it because he's going to throw down with Thanos in the film. So, yeah, I can understand it. It looks good. I think it's acceptable Spider-Man attire. And again, Doctor Strange looks like he's going to have a important part in this film. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. We haven't heard anything on the front of Doctor Strange getting a second movie. Now, this disappoints me because Doctor Strange was successful, but it wasn't something that set the world on fire. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was sort of the same way. I don't really understand why well, I do understand why Ant-Man and the Wasp got greenlit, because basically you got another female superhero they want to introduce, which was a founding member of the Avengers. You also have a bigger name actor in Michael Douglas that you want to get back on screen as soon as possible. With Doctor Strange, there really isn't too many avenues left to explore other than, Doctor Strange going to be taking on Baron Mordo, which they set up. But again, how many times has the MCU set up something and not paid it off? I mean, they haven't they set up Abomination. Well, they set up that he was going to come back in Agents of Shield. They keep mentioning, oh, Blonsky's in cryo freeze, whatever. They set up Leader. They set up Justin Hammer to come back. They set up the Mandarin in the All Hail the King. So the MCU is used to setting up villains to return that never return. Of course, they set up Red Skull. They set up Red Skull to return, and he never returned. All right, so that is my look at the Avengers trailer. And again, like I said, I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange 2. Here's hoping Doctor Strange 2 will be in Phase 4, because so far they haven't announced too many movies in Phase 4. All we know is this the end of Phase 3, or is it going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp is the end of Phase 3? Let's say it's Ant-Man and the Wasp is the end of Phase 3, because I'm not sure about that. But we know there's a Captain Marvel movie in the works that's going to be coming out. We know Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is greenlit. We know that Black Widow movie is in the works. That's going to be made. Although they seem to be acting like, I don't know, there was an interview with Scarlett Johansson, and she didn't seem to say that there was anything solid yet about that. They also did kind of downplay that there's going to be any Captain Rogers and Natasha romance, which, again, like I said, makes me very happy. So they haven't mentioned, and of course there's going to be Avengers 4, but they haven't mentioned anything about, oh, of course there's going to be a Black Panther 2. They've already said that. They'd be fools not to make a Black Panther 2 when this film has already made over $1 billion. Which, again, I'm always honest with you guys. I didn't really see it as, it's going to be probably the biggest moneymaker for a comic book movie. I didn't see it as the greatest comic book movie of all time. It just, to me, was a solid effort, pretty much like Doctor Strange, pretty much like Ant-Man, where it's not really in my top 10, but it's a solid effort. I mean, it does justice by its main hero. The villain is impressive, and, it just is a solid effort. It's pretty much all I could say. But, hey, everybody wins when a superhero movie does good. And of course, this is not bashing the film in any way, because it's a good movie. It is very good, so it's worthy of praise. But if you were to tell me that it was going to be heralded as one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, I would have thrown up my arms and said, I don't see it. But hey, there you go. So, let's hope that we get some more news of Phase 4 soon in the future. Will Fantastic Four be in the works in Phase 4? That seems fitting. And I think, honestly, we also have Spider-Man Homecoming sequel is going to be, that's already been greenlit. We know that's coming as we're looking at Phase 4. But I think, really, if you're worried that we're not going to have any big names, because I hear that a lot of people are saying, well, what do we have? We're going to have for Phase 4, we're going to have Captain Marvel, we're going to have Black Widow, we're going to have Guardians 3. There's no big names. If you put Fantastic Four out in Phase 4, that will go a long way in bringing some star power to the MCU. Because I agree that, honestly, Black Panther and Doctor Strange and Guardians 3, Ant-Man sequels, that's not big name players. You put in the Fantastic Four, those are your big name players. And you spread them out a little bit. You involve Fantastic Four in a Captain Marvel movie, or in maybe a Black Panther movie. And as a matter of fact, I was always a big advocate that the Black Panther should have been introduced in a Fantastic Four movie. Now the Fantastic Four can apparently be used by Marvel. I think it would only be fitting that you have the Black Panther in a Fantastic Four movie, or vice versa. Maybe that's the way you introduce the Fantastic Four. You do it opposite of the way it was done in the comics, where Black Panther was introduced in the Fantastic Four. You have the Fantastic Four introduced in Black Panther, and then you can do the solo movie later where you recap the origin. But either way you slice it, it's there's some exciting times to come. We also have X-Men. How are they going to be folded into the Marvel universe? Are they going to take the Fox films and just keep them and sort of adapt them to the current state of the MCU? I don't know. Probably not. I think they start over from scratch. Kind of disappointing because they're on their second version of the Dark Phoenix, and all signs point to them not really doing it right again. So if we already seen Marvel is afraid to redo the origin of Spider-Man, as I've complained about many times. We've already seen they were afraid to redo the origin of the Hulk. We got because there was the Ang Lee movie, and then people know the TV show, and so they did the credits as an origin showcase. So again, they're not going to probably do a full-on origin of the Fantastic Four, even though arguably Fantastic Four deserves it, because even though they've had two movies, well, three if you want to count the Roger Corman one, not Harvey Corman. The Roger Corman one was very rarely seen. You had to check it out on YouTube or something, but still, their origin is out there. And if I know Marvel, they're not going to do it again. And so, with Marvel not wanting to redo stories, I don't think they're going to touch the Dark Phoenix saga again. They're probably not going to do a origin film, because we did get the origin film in First Class between Eric and Charles. So anyway, yeah, that's just a little look at what they could do in the Phase 4. Hopefully, I would like to see some more team-up movies. That might be something they could do. Like, we kind of got that with Spider-Man Homecoming with the Iron Man appearing, but I'm saying let's do a full-fledged team-up movie. We got Thor and the Hulk. That was more or less a team-up movie. I say Spider-Man should have the Hulk in the sequel, in the Spider-Man Homecoming sequel. I would love to see the Hulk and Spider-Man interact, because they also have some kind of a history in the comics. You also have, again, the Hulk to appear in a Fantastic Four movie. That would be great, because then we'd finally get that thing Hulk throwdown. So, yeah, once again, it's interesting to see how they're going to involve these Fox properties. And I don't think they can wait on Fantastic Four. That is a must. I would hope they're going to do more and, give a contract to Hemsworth, Evans, and RDJ for more appearances, even if they don't do solo movies. I really don't want them to be killed off. You can explain away whatever they're doing elsewhere or whatever, but still have them come in from time to time. The problem being, I think they want to say that they want to kill them off, because every time there's this earth-shaking event, then where is Cap? Where is Iron Man? Where's Thor? But the problem is with that, you have to recast these actors eventually. You have to recast these characters with new actors. And like I said, we've done it with the Hulk. We've done it with a Rhodey. It's not that hard to do. You just sit them on the shelf for a phase or so. Focus on Fantastic Four. Maybe focus on, like I said, trying to do something with the X-Men. And then reintroduce these characters with new actors. It's either that or the whole franchise is going to be rebooted anyway, eventually, and you're going to have to start over again with new actors anyway. So instead of rebooting the franchise, just have a phase where some of the actors, some of the characters are not at play, then bring them back with different actors. That's the way I would do it. All right, so that's about it for this week. We had a pretty full show here. It didn't quite last as long as they usually do, but let me know what you think in the comments below about the Infinity War trailer, #2, Avengers Infinity War. Boy, it's coming up pretty soon. We've got just about a month now because the uh, release date was moved up to April 27th. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, next week is Holy Week. And that I don't know, but probably we'll do a show on Holy Week, but I don't know when. It depends what the situation is. So tentatively speaking, we're going to keep to the same schedule of doing a show this coming Saturday. But for Holy Week, I don't know if there's going to be a Saturday show. Probably not going to be a Saturday show because it's Easter Eve. And there might be a show earlier in the week. I'm not sure if I could do it like maybe Monday or something. I might, like I'm doing today. Just a little channel update there in case you are interested. All right, so once again, let me know what you think in the comments below about any of the news we had here on Torch News Roundup number 83. Thank you for joining us for our 60-second live broadcast. And remember, like, subscribe, share, do all that great stuff. Let the world know that you're enjoying Johnny Torch Live, that you're enjoying the Torch News Roundup. Interact, let me know what you think in the comments. Check out some of my older videos. I'm going to try to get to my try to do more videos lately that are scripted. As I always say this, but I'm trying to get some more scripted videos done. Having trouble even doing live videos, so I can't promise when that's going to happen. And we've got my Adventures of Bullets Bourbon comic that I want you to check out in the link in the description below. Also, check out my Twitter link for the poll of the week question. We're going to be coming up with a new poll of the week question very soon, so you'll want to check that out. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for joining me on this Monday afternoon. If you're joining me on this Monday afternoon, if you're joining me later, whatever day of the week it is. And until next we meet, I remain faithfully your servant, Johnny Torch, reminding you, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.